morning, everybody. I am starting to get sick. I had a dream I was getting sick and I woke up feeling like really cruddy. So I'm just going to get straight to the point. This week I did a cold processed soap and oven processed it, which means that you kind of get the best of both worlds there. You get cold processed with the freedom and the flow to really add some interesting swirls and colors and things like that to your soap, but you also get the benefits of forcing it through that gel stage, making it more instant gratification so you can actually use it right away. Of course, I always suggest that you let it cure just because it'll let all the extra water dissipate and it'll give you a nice hard bar. But if you needed to use it right away, you totally could. And then just another note, I keep getting the same question over and over again. What is my recipe? What oils do I use in my soap? And I'm just going to tell you right here. I use all kinds of different oils, and that's why I really don't give the recipes. It's not that I'm being super secretive. I just don't want you guys to feel like you have to go out and buy those oils. That you have to go out and buy avocado oil or sweet almond oil. I want you guys to be able to make soap with whatever oils and butters that you have on hand or are easily available to you. And I always link down in the description box the Brambleberry lye calculator so you guys can calculate exactly how much lye and how much water you need for your recipes with the oils you have on hand. So that is why I don't really give exact amounts of what oils I use, just because I don't want to feel like I am limiting you guys to having to do the same exact thing. So get out there, get inspired, and make some soap, and let's get started. Alright guys, so for this recipe we're going to be doing a cold process soap, but we're going to turn it into a hot process soap by using a hot oven. So for this recipe you're going to need the basic things that you make soap with. I am using a mixture of olive oil, sweet almond oil, rice bran oil, coconut oil, and shea butter. That's all been melted down. Of course, got my distilled water, my lye. And here I have some aloe vera, so that will be going in. I've also got some powdered goat milk and some kaolin clay in here. And then I'm going to use some green matcha that I've used. I've just taken some of the oil out and I've used matcha tea to color that green. And so now we're going to get started. If I can get my glove on. Alright, first things first, we're going to add in our lye to our water. Again, lye into water, never water into lye. And just going to take my spoon, give that a stir, just make sure it doesn't clump up. And again, if you haven't watched any of my other soap making videos or you're new to making soap, you want to do this in a well ventilated area because the lye will give off fumes when it's heated up and it gets very, very hot. I also suggest if you are brand new to wear gloves and long sleeves. I'm not wearing long sleeves today. I very rarely ever wear long sleeves. But long sleeves will help, as well as eye protection, and if you want to wear a mask of some sort, you can do that. So now I am going to move my oil over. I'm going to find my step blender and plug that in because that helps. Alright. I don't have anything in here but my oils, but I just want to make sure there's a few little small parts of shea butter in there that I want to get combined. And then I'm actually going to add in my goat milk and my kaolin clay right now. That way I can ensure there's no lumps in my soap. So I'm just going to give that a quick mix as well. And while we're at it, we'll add in our aloe vera as well. Why not? Throw it in the pot. Now if you want to use fresh goat milk or frozen goat's milk, check out my goat milk video and I show you how to make a nice creamy white goat milk soap using fresh goat milk. I just have a bunch of powdered milk that I had did a while ago that I'm trying to use up, so that's what I am using today. Or you could omit goat milk altogether if you want. You can use regular soap. It's up to you. Now My lye isn't completely clear yet. It's still very, very hot. So I'm going to let that cool down just a little bit before I add it to my oils, because I don't want this to come to trace too quickly. So I will be right back. All right. So my lye has cooled down a tad bit. And I've got a little bit of lye lint, so I'm just going to pour it in through a strainer. Nothing fancy. And we're just going to bring this to a light trace. Alrighty. So I am happy with that. And now I'm going to add in my essential oils. Give that a mix. Okay, so that's come to a nice light trace. Just going to scrape off my excess. Don't lose my spatula. And I'm going to actually pour a little bit into this container, hopefully without making a huge mess. So I can use my green to kind of color it. As I splatter it everywhere. Alright. Now I've got that. I'm just going to do kind of an in the pot swirl. Nothing fancy. Ooh. This out of the way. I'm going to take my mold. Now, if you're doing oven process, you'll want to make sure that the mold you are using is, of course, oven safe. So I'm just going to just give that a shake. Really good tap. Now I've preheated my oven to 170 degrees, which is the lowest temperature that my oven will go. And it's going to all be dependent on what type of mold you use and your oven and how finicky it is. So you'll want to do a trial and error, and you'll want to keep a really close eye on it as far as watching for it to hit the gel phase, because that's what you're looking for, is the gel phase. And you'll want to make sure it's not overheating so that you get a bunch of bubbles. So we're going to take this over to the oven and show you the next step. Alright, so I've got my soap in my mold, in my oven. My oven is set to 170 degrees. I'm going to set the timer for about 5 minutes, but I'm going to keep a very close eye on it to make sure I don't get any bubbling at the top, which would indicate that it is overheating. Again, just keep an eye on it and watch it, and when it comes to the gel phase, I will show you what I'm talking about. Right. Now you might be able to see a little bit better how it is starting to really hit that gel phase. Now I am going to actually turn the heat off because I'm noticing a little bit of bubbling on the top, which is caused from too much heat. So I'm going to turn the heat off and just let it sit in the oven for a little bit longer. If you notice that it starts bubbling really quickly in your oven, turn the heat off and maybe crack the door a little bit to let some of that heat go. That way you don't end up making your soap look really bubbly. But I'm happy with this so far. Minimal bubbles. So we're just going to let this continue. I'm going to actually rotate it around one quick time and just let it sit until the oven is completely cool, and then take it out, and then tomorrow we will cut it. All right, guys. So I let my soap sit overnight, and now I'm just going to demold it, and it is time to give it a good cut. If I can get it out of the mold. It's still kind of a little bit soft, so I'm trying to be gentle here. As gentle as I can be. Oh, isn't that pretty? Pop this in. Cut. Where'd my cutter? The ducks are out there playing in one of the buckets, and Xena is not happy about it. So if you hear some weird noises, that's what you hear. There's one of the end cuts. I need okay. So now let's get cutting. Isn't that pretty? Now, I like this process because you can do the fun swirls and colorants and stuff like that of cold process, all while having the benefits of hot process. You can actually use this soap now. It's pretty mild now if you wanted to. But again, just like any soap, I would let it sit for a few weeks just so you can let it harden and get a nice hard soap out of it. And the harder the soap is, the longer it's going to last you. I mean, if you're going to spend the time and energy making your own homemade soap, you want it to last a little while, right? So that's why I always recommend letting it cure and get nice and hard. Alright, so that is what I have got for you guys today. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It really helps. And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, be sure to do so. We put out new videos every week, sometimes twice a week. I try to do twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, but sometimes life gets in the way. I've got some rowdy goats and some very rowdy animals out there, and they just take priority sometimes. So be sure to subscribe for some more awesome videos that I have planned coming up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!